Well, hello. Good morning, Stella.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I'm good.
Yeah,
I have a few questions about you.
you do? Me?
Yeah. First
Oh,
is what was your job?
um, let's see. Do you want to know what I did most of my life or when I first started working?
Um, I want to know both.
Okay. Well, my first jobs when I was probably about 12, 13 years old, I I was able to find a way to work at my father's hospital in Rochester, Minnesota. They would hire me to do, clean up the kitchens and floors and do things like that. That was my first jobs. And I worked at that for a long time. And because it was my father's hospital, I got to stay with it all the way through high school. And yeah, and I even when I'd come home from college, I could work there if I wanted to. And I did for the first year. But then I was in college and I was looking for summer jobs just to work during the summer because I was going to school year round and I really did not want to have to work while I was going to school. And I had a friend who said, well, we've got the perfect summer job for you if you'd want to come down and apply. It would be to work with young kids, teenagers, their very first job experience. And we would build trails and picnic tables and work in parks and do things. And my job was to be a crew chief. A crew chief for me was I'd have 12 kids, 12, 13 to 15-year-old kids. And we built a park. After working with those kids and seeing what their lives were like, they were in poverty. Other people were afraid of them. Their friends and others were often afraid of them. I learned to really like them. I thought that they were really nice people. And they were when they're just with us. But sometimes when they go back to their families and their areas, life wasn't as easy for them. But I really respected that. So I saw all this future potential and hope in young kids. And I've kept that my whole life. So after that, I just worked with young people all the time. And some of the jobs I've had were working with the young people on work crews, like I talked about, working in parks and doing projects like that. I then they liked me at that place. They thought I was a pretty good guy. So eventually I ended up being the executive director of the company. And at that time, we had over 2,500 kids a summer working. So I'd have between 40 and 45 people working for me that I directly or indirectly supervised and managed. We also had, in this very first job, it was called CCA, stands for Center for Community Action. But it was CCA, and I was executive director of. But that was just one of our programs. We also had I excuse me, I have to sneeze. We had a playhouse. It's called Mixed Blood Theater. It was a theater company. And we had that. And then I had some daycare centers for kids, and then some during school programs for kids. I learned that you cannot drop out of school. These kids cannot leave school and just find work and be okay. So I started putting education and employment together. And I started some programs where you would go to school for 4 hours in the morning and maybe go to work for 4 hours during the day. And they'd stay in one place where we worked. And we had our supervisors and our teachers. But I was director of that, and I was able to start those programs. Eventually, we merged. Our organization went out of business, the CCA, and it became part of what I'll call LNB, Loring Nicollet Bethlehem Center. And there we were primarily education with employment. That's where I started really getting interested in education and schools, and especially for those kids who don't have the normal opportunities. Maybe they live in poverty and they can't get to school. Maybe they don't have such nice parents. Sometimes there have been, just through no fault of their own, illness or tragedy or whatever, they just haven't been able to go to school. Well, I wanted them in school. So we found a way to put some schools together, and they're called contract alternative high schools. And that got kids who had dropped out of school another chance to come back. And they were usually a little older, but they came back. So anyway, so I was director of that. And I stayed that way until I retired in 2015. So that was from I'm telling you a story from 1965 to 2015, 35, 50 years.
Oh, that's 50 years then.
Worked a long time. So I'm sorry, I probably spoke too much, but did that make sense? Do you have any questions?
I have a few more.
Okay.
It's just 5 more.
Okay.
Question number 2. When were you born?
I was born on June 2nd, 1951. That makes it 69 years ago.
That seems.
No, I don't have an age over 25.
How long did you wait? Oh yeah, we did that one. I'll cross that out.
Which was it, honey?
You already explained it. How long did you work there?
Oh, okay.
Where was your job located?
I worked almost my entire life in downtown in Minneapolis.
Okay.
Almost always in the downtown area of Minneapolis.
What was your favorite part of your job?
Seeing kids finding their own success. Finding that seeing the expressions on their faces when they were able to do something or learn something they never thought they could. They had confidence. And that's true of every single person I ever met.
This is the last one. What did you want to be when you were a little kid?
Oh, I was certain. No doubt in my mind, I was going to be a professional baseball player. Yeah, that shows you how you deceive yourself. But I thought I could, and uh, I played a lot of baseball, but I just didn't have it in me at the end. You know, after I left high school, it got harder for me. Um, so anyway, that's what I thought I'd be, baseball player. I also was interested in medicine, um, possibly mainly because I'd spent so much time working in the hospital. I had a lot of respect for doctors and uh, yeah, the doctors and therapists. So psychology or psychiatry was another area that I would be very interested in. I still am. And I still have those interests. Those never went away, Stella. I just didn't use them as an occupation. I still enjoy watching baseball because I understand the game like you understand hockey and that. So you'll enjoy watching that game whether you're playing in it or not someday. And that's the same for me. And um, in terms of being a doctor, that just having an open mind and reading and staying connected with when you see things written or books or newspapers, your head just kind of naturally goes to them. So I would say that for you, I'll bet the same will be true, that you'll have your favorite things and a lot of them you'll follow the rest of your life, whether you do them or not. You'll be interested in them. That's kind of the fun thing. As I get this old, when I didn't get to be a baseball player, I was pretty sad. I didn't like that. But if I hadn't done that, I wouldn't have met your Nana. And then I wouldn't have had your mommy. And then I wouldn't have had you. So why would I ever give any of that up? I chose the perfect path.
Thanks for a wonderful interview.
Oh, well, you're welcome, honey. Are you sure you got the information you wanted on how long I worked? I
Um,
kind of,
How long did you work?
what is your answer for that?
um, and
I'd say it's 50 years.
well,
50 years working and 40 years working. Actually, it was, oh, I think it was 45 years working in the same field, the same occupation for 45 years.
what the?
That's 5-year lifetime, 6-year lifetimes.
Thanks.
You're welcome, sweetheart.